get ready to kickstart your journey to wellness with the ultimate guide in town. Welcome to Wellness Unleashed with Doc Stone. Join us as we journey through the realms of natural healing, where ancient wisdom meets modern science. Prepare to be inspired by stories of transformation and triumph. With Doc Stone as your guide, discover the power of holistic living and the joy of reclaiming your health. Prepare for a whirlwind adventure through the world of holistic wellness. From fitness freaks to spiritual gurus, we've got something for everyone. So grab your sneakers, your yoga mat, or just your sense of curiosity, and let's dive headfirst into a world of wellness wonders. Wellness Unleashed with Doc Stone. Your path to a vibrant life starts now. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's show. I am Doc Stone, your host of this Wellness Unleashed live streaming show on the Airstream TV network. Today's show is brought to you by the Airstream TV network, as well as Doc Stone's Natural Medicine and Wellness, and we are greatly appreciative of their sponsorship of this show, where we get to share with you about natural approaches to a variety of different health concerns that people face all across the world. Today, we're going to talk about a very important topic. It's not a very widely diagnosed disease. It's somewhat rare, but it is the most diagnosed neurological disorder, and that is multiple sclerosis. So we will be talking about that during this show today. I would like to, before we jump into today's topic, I do want to just talk a little bit about the recent storms that we had with Hurricane Helene and all of those people in the southeast portion of the United States, including my home state of Kentucky, where there was a large amount of rain and flooding. Lives were lost, homes were destroyed, and our hearts and our prayers really go out. And I just want to encourage our audience that if for any reason you feel led, it's on your heart to give to any of the organizations that are helping to rebuild and to rescue in these communities, I would just ask that you would contribute and try to help these people out. I've just been completely saddened by the video footage that I've seen online showing the devastation in these towns. We're just hopeful and prayerful that they are able to recover soon. And so if you are somehow led to give to like the American Red Cross or any other national reputable organization that is helping to these families, these communities to rebuild, I do want to encourage you to do that. I just felt like I'd be remiss if I did not bring that up and mention that, our country right now, that portion of the country is in a lot of pain and could really use all the support possible. So if you're so led, please make sure that you do reach out and support those communities. Okay, enough said about that. So just a reminder before we dive into today's topic that we don't diagnose to treat disease on this show. This is for entertainment purposes only. These statements have not been approved by the FDA, all that stuff that I have to tell you. Please make sure that you do have a sickness or some kind of condition, that you do seek out your licensed medical practitioner. But this is for education. We do believe that you have the right as a person to have autonomy in your healthcare choices. So we do want to educate you, make sure that you do what's right for you. So as I mentioned, today we're going to talk about multiple sclerosis and how it comes about, diagnosed, natural approaches to it, all of that stuff. So let's get ready to dive in here. All right. So natural approaches. Again, Doc Stone's Natural Medicine. That's where you can find me on social media. You can learn more information there as well about anything that we talk about on this show. Okay, what is multiple sclerosis? So multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune condition that affects the central nervous system by attacking the myelin sheath that protects nerve cells. So the myelin sheath is the sheath that goes around your nerve cells. It protects them. And MS is an autoimmune condition where, for some reason, the white blood cells that are part of your immune system, they actually begin to attack that myelin sheath around the nerve cells, and it eats away at it. Well, when that myelin sheath is damaged or it's eaten away, it exposes those nerve sheaths, and whichever nerves, whatever part of the body that those nerves function for or connect to, when that's damaged, that nerve cell is damaged, then it begins to bring about symptoms in that portion of the body. Now, we have talked about a lot of different topics on this show, and it seems that we come back to a recurring theme of autoimmune condition. And so MS is classified as an autoimmune condition. Don't really know what causes it per se. It could be partially genetic, but we know that there's a lot of different things that can contribute to the causing of MS, which, like other autoimmune conditions, you'll find that these root causes are very similar to a lot of the other conditions that we've talked about. So autoimmune conditions are something that are becoming more and more prevalent in our country. And so it's important that we know about these diseases. So let's talk a little bit about the numbers of it. Prevalence, like I said, it's not really a widely prevalent disease. About 1 million people have been diagnosed in the United States. And so it's not a whole lot. About 2/3 of those diagnosed are female patients, and the majority of them are white. That's the most impacted race. It's most commonly diagnosed anywhere between 20 and 50 years of age, with it being even more commonly between 20 and 40. And the highest rates are in northern latitudes. Now, here's something that's really, really kind of interesting, which, when you begin to dig into it, will help us to understand what might be contributing to this more, is that this disease is more prevalent in the United States than it is in the eastern part of the world, or even in developing countries. So the U.S., with all of its medical care and its technology and everything, has a higher rate of MS, which leads us to ask the questions, well, why would such a well-developed country have the highest rate compared to even developing countries and the eastern part of the world? And it makes us really begin to dig into the different environmental and dietary things that could be causing this autoimmune conditions. As we've talked about a number of times, that most of the other autoimmune conditions are directly influenced by toxins and mycotoxins and heavy metals and other things that attack our immune system, including our inflammatory diet. So the SAD diet, standard American diet, certainly contributes to this. So northern latitudes, same thing. Even in the United States, it's northern states that tend to have higher amounts of MS, which could be correlated with a lower levels of vitamin D, or a higher rate of vitamin D deficiency because of the lack of sunlight. So as we move on into the different things that can help to possibly prevent or to help mitigate your symptoms, if you are diagnosed with MS, you'll find that vitamin D is certainly something that is very important for this condition. So there's 4 types of MS. We'll talk a little bit about each of them. Not a whole lot, because I do want to get to the different types of natural support that you can do for your body. But the 4 types of MS are relapsing remitting MS, secondary progressive MS, primary progressive MS, and progressive relapsing MS. So relapsing remitting MS is the most common form of MS. It's about 85% of all diagnosed cases. So you have relapses, which are periods of new or increasing symptoms, followed by remission, which are periods of partial or complete recovery. So you could have a relapse where all of a sudden you're having these symptoms, your body's being affected, and then you go into a remission. You could have complete recovery where all of a sudden you have no symptoms, or maybe you have a lot less symptoms. And so you'll have this cycle. There can be long periods of time between the relapses and the remission, or there can be shorter periods of time. But this is the most common form of MS. Secondary progressive MS can develop in those who had the relapsing in remission MS. Over time, the relapses become less frequent and the symptoms worsen without clear periods of remission. So that you transition to a steady progression of a disability. So you move away from having these periods of remission and you begin to transition to just a more steady progression of the disability. Primary progressive MS, it affects about 10 to 15% of MS patients. Gradual worsening of the symptoms right from the start. So, unlike the relapsing and remission MS, this one, you just gradually begin to get worse and worse. You don't really have the relapses. You get the symptoms and they just steadily become worse. There is none of the relapsing remission, and there's no clear recovery period. So you just don't even really know that you're getting better. You just keep going down. And then there's progressive relapsing MS. This is the rarest form of MS, affecting about 5% of patients. It's a steady progression of symptoms with occasional acute relapses, and then recovery is often incomplete. So the disability accumulates over time. Something to keep in mind is that with MS, there's no known cure. And so most of the time in conventional medicine, you're just trying to treat the different symptoms of the disorder. But like most autoimmune diseases, the conventional medical system doesn't really have a cure for helping people with autoimmune disorders. So causes and risk factors. As I mentioned, there's no real known risk cause for MS, but there are some risk factors that we believe contribute to somebody developing MS, similar to most other autoimmune disorders. So chronic infections like viral or bacterial and candida. Candida is a systemic yeast infection inside. We find in our coaching practice that there are a lot of people who have unexplained symptoms, unexplained fatigue, not feeling good all the time. And it turns out when we do our functional medicine laboratory testing that we find that they have candida systemically. And so, if we're able to help them to overcome the candida, find ways to remove that from their body, then they'll find that their symptoms get better. But what happens is that when you have chronic infections, and how do chronic infections play into this autoimmune disorder? Chronic infections are very taxing on the immune system. And when the immune system is overworked, then we are more susceptible to developing conditions that create autoimmune disorders because our immune system is just tired and it goes wonky. It gets out of whack. Long periods of acute stress and stress hormone imbalance. These again weaken your immune system and open the gateway for autoimmune conditions to develop inside your body. Poor nutrition, especially vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D, we've talked about it before, but vitamin D is one of the most important vitamins/hormones that your body has. It has a huge array of functions inside of your body. Environmental toxins and heavy metal toxins and food allergies, all of these are considered to be risk factors or causative reasons that will cause you to develop an autoimmune disorder if they are not addressed. So common symptoms of multiple sclerosis: deep fatigue, blurred vision, poor coordination, loss of balance, facial paralysis, staggering gait, tremors in the body, and bowel and bladder incontinence. Now, these are not all of the symptoms. These are just some of the common symptoms. And you can see that some of these are also symptoms of other disorders. So sometimes MS is hard to diagnose, and it takes a long time for you to get a definitive diagnosis because there's a lot of similar symptoms to it with other disorders. So how's it diagnosed? It's diagnosed usually with MRI scans to detect lesions, lumbar punctures to check the cerebral spinal fluid for any abnormalities, and blood tests to rule out other conditions. Because, like I said, a lot of the symptoms of MS are similar to symptoms of other diseases. So it's important to rule out other conditions first. The conventional medicine treatments that you'll find oftentimes have to do with disease modulating therapies or DMTs, like interferons and monoclonal antibodies. And then also corticosteroids medications are oftentimes given to help to reduce inflammation in the body. But here's the thing, almost all of these have a whole bunch of different side effects. So while they're helping with one area, maybe alleviating some of the symptoms of your MS, they are in turn can be creating other issues as well in the body. So they almost all have a variety of side effects. So holistic and natural treatments, diet. We always talk about diet first on the show because that's the very, very first thing. It's the foundation of making sure that not only that you prevent disease, but also in helping you to recover from disease when you do things. So whole foods diet, incorporating organic ingredients that you prepare. Again, that's because we want to try to reduce the amount of environmental toxins, pesticides, fertilizer, all that stuff that we're ingesting through our foods, because that all can affect your immune system. We want to increase antioxidant rich foods. We want to avoid sugar and processed and fat foods because they're highly inflammatory in the body. We want to consume foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Not only are omega-3 fatty acids really important for your brain, they are also very, very anti-inflammatory. So they help a whole lot of different issues in your body because they reduce inflammation. And you want to avoid hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated fats because they are also and they are inflammatory. Some of the herbs and supplements that might be helpful or may be supportive if you are diagnosed with multiple sclerosis: fish oil, a high potency multivitamin, vitamin D. And again, vitamin D is very, very important. The vast majority of people are deficient in vitamin D, and it's not being checked like it should be. And the functional levels are not being shared by conventional doctors. So vitamin D, very, very important. Vitamin B12 is involved in the formation of those myelin sheaths around your nerve cells. So very, very important to make sure that you're getting adequate levels of vitamin B12. Plant sterols and sterolins, digestive enzymes. Again, digestive enzymes, the way those help is that they really help you to digest your food there, and thereby hopefully reducing the amount of allergic activity or sensitivities to food. Gamma linoleic acid, or GLA, that's an essential fatty acid as well, but it's very, very important. Ashwagandha, we've talked about that one before. It is a stress. It's very, very good. It's been used for thousands and thousands of years to help with modulating stress inside the body, and ginkgo biloba as well. So these are some of the herbs and supplements that you might find supportive, and we'll provide some information at the end of where you can get practitioner grade supplements through us and get a discount as well. So holistic and natural treatments in the lifestyle changes. Again, we can't really talk about being healthy naturally without talking about some lifestyle changes. Stress management, like meditation, yoga, deep breathing exercises. These are all important ways to help you to reduce stress. And again, stress is actually one of the biggest killers. It's one of the biggest causes of death. We live in a society now where we're constantly under stress and we don't know how to get out of it, and that wears down our body and causes disease, causes death. So whatever you can do to reduce stress is very, very important. Sleep hygiene, getting the right amount of sleep is important because that's when your body actually heals itself. A lack of sleep will prevent you from healing. It will reduce your lifespan. So please make sure that you are getting good sleep. Don't smoke or drink alcohol. These are irritants and actually are stress out your immune system as well. They create free radicals in the body, which we know we've talked about before. They cause all kinds of different issues. and then stay active and exercise daily. If you are diagnosed and you're suffering with the symptoms of multiple sclerosis, it's still important to be active. Maybe you want to do some therapy in the pool, water therapy, but whatever you're able to tolerate, make sure that you're getting active and moving your body. So let's talk about some alternative therapies that are out there, some complementary alternative therapies. Massage is very, very stress reducing. It stimulates the body's lymph system as well. So this is where a lot of your immune system works out. So really good. Reflexology, pressure points in the feet can be helpful. Aromatherapy. And then avoids, for if you do have MS, avoid saunas and really, really hot baths, or steam baths, but cool or cold bath and shower can actually be very, very stimulating for you. And then there are homeopathic remedies that might help your symptoms. See a qualified homeopathic practitioner for that. Here's some of the resources for multiple sclerosis. There's the National MS Society. .org, mymsaa.org, which is the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America, and then braincenter.org. Or you can always reach out to us if you need you want some more information about MS, or you want to be pointed in the right direction to where you can get some support for MS. We would be happy to help you there. Again, you can get practitioner grade supplements from here, this link here. Just make sure you use practitioner code 661753 to get your discount. It's only available through practitioners like me, so make sure that you'll need that practitioner code to register and to get your supplements. And if you are interested in getting our advanced functional lab tests, they're direct to you. We send the lab kits straight to your home. You collect a sample and then mail it back, and we'll get you your results. And that is multiple sclerosis for today. Again, I do want to thank you for being a part of our show. We really want to try to expose people to natural and alternative modalities for a variety of different health conditions. I want to invite you, if you are a practitioner who's serving people who, especially in the natural, alternative, complementary, integrative health field, and you'd like to be a guest on the show, would love to have you on the show. Share what you're doing with the world. You can catch our show on all the major streaming platforms: Roku, Amazon, Fire TV, Apple TV, Twitch. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. If you have received a healing and you have had a struggle with a disease or condition, and you were exposed to some type of natural alternative therapy, and you have now recovered from that, and you have an inspiring story, and you'd like to be on the show, we would love to talk to you as well. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Make sure that you bookmark the Aerostream TV network so that you can be kept up to date on all of the shows on the network. And if you are interested in having your own show on the Natural Health TV channel, just shoot me a message. Be happy to get you set up and get you going so that you can share with the world your story and your practice. So again, please keep all of those people who are suffering in the southeast part of the United States from all these floods in your prayers. And if you know anybody who is suffering with MS, a family member or friend, please make sure that you share this episode with them as well. Until next week, be well. Thank you for watching Wellness Unleashed with Doc Stone on the Aerostream TV network. The opinions expressed by the host and guests of this show are theirs and not the opinions of the network or our sponsors. None of the information shared on today's episode should be taken as medical advice. Statements have not been approved by the FDA or any other governmental authority. And if you're experiencing any kind of illness or wellness issue, you are encouraged to consult with your licensed healthcare practitioner. And we do appreciate you watching our show and look forward to seeing you on the next episode.